Okay, Jamie, whenever you're ready.
Wonderful. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jamie Awalt. I'm the CoSA president for the next hour, I guess. I know we're still figuring that out. An assistant state archivist at the Tennessee State Library and Archives. And it is my pleasure to convene the 2024 business meeting of the Council of State Archivists. Thank you all for signing in. It's my pleasure to introduce Steve Murray, the CoSA Secretary Treasurer and Director of the Alabama Department of Archives and History and State Archivist. Steve, would you please conduct the roll call of states and territories and recognition of our guests?
Thank you, Madam President, and good day, everyone. When I call the name of your state or territory, we ask one representative of your organization, let us know that you're here, and please mention any colleagues who are here with you today. This will be in alphabetical order this year, so you can anticipate when I'll be getting to your state or territory. First up is Alabama. I'm Steve Murray, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Dorothy Jadair. Alaska. American Samoa. Arizona. Lisa, I'm just going to check. Is our mic situation working okay? To your knowledge?
The problem is we've got to get them allowed to talk, and our list is not in state order, it's in name order. So be patient a minute. We'll get everybody allowed to talk, and then you should be able to proceed.
When you hit record, we were able to start talking.
Thank you. You should be able to go ahead, I think.
Okay, I'll start from the beginning again. Alaska. American Samoa. Arizona. Arkansas. I know I saw David Ware in the chat. California. Colorado. Connecticut.
Here, can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Lizette.
Hi, this is Lizette Pelletier. Yes, I am here today, and Assistant State Archivist Ellen Ramsey is here, and our Library Technical Assistant, Lisa Liu.
Excellent, thank you all. Delaware. District of Columbia. Florida. Georgia. Guam. Hawaii. Idaho. Illinois.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Dave.
Illinois is here with Kathy Popovich as well.
Great, thank you. Indiana.
This is Claire Alderfer, and I think Chandler Lighty will be joining in a few minutes.
Wonderful. Iowa. Kansas.
Megan Burton, State Archivist, is here.
Thank you, Megan. Kentucky.
This is Catherine Giles for Kentucky.
Hello, Catherine. Louisiana.
Hi, this is Melanie Montanaro for Louisiana. I don't have any other staff participating today.
Thank you, Melanie. Maine. Maryland. Massachusetts.
Hi, John Warner from Massachusetts.
And Caitlin Ramos.
Hello to both of you. Did I hear someone from Maryland in the background? All right. Michigan. Minnesota.
Sean Rounds here from Minnesota.
Hi, Sean. Mississippi. Missouri.
John Dugan.
Hello, John. Montana. Nebraska. Nevada. New Hampshire.
Ashley Miller here for New Hampshire.
Hello, Ashley. New Jersey.
Ronnie Calder and Tara Maharjan.
Thank you, Ronnie. New Mexico.
Jonathan Pringle. I'm by myself.
Hi, Jonathan. New York. North Carolina.
Sarah Kuntz from North Carolina.
Hi, Sarah. North Dakota.
Shane Molander here from North Dakota.
Hello, Shane. Northern Mariana Islands. Ohio.
Hello, this is Fred Previtz from Ohio.
Hi, Fred. Oklahoma. Oregon.
This is Chris Stenson, State Records Manager here. Stephanie Clark, State Archivist, will be here momentarily. She had to run from another meeting.
Thank you, Chris. Pennsylvania.
David Carmichael.
Hello, David.
Hey, Steve.
Puerto Rico. Rhode Island.
Ashley Salima for Rhode Island.
Hi, Ashley. South Carolina.
Eric Emerson, South Carolina.
Thank you, Eric. South Dakota.
Shelley Thompson, South Dakota.
Hi, Shelley. Tennessee.
Jamie Awalt, I believe I'm here solo.
Thank you, Jamie. Texas.
Lane Chubb.
Hi, Jelaine.
Hi.
U.S. Virgin Islands. Utah.
Ken Williams, Utah.
Thank you, Ken. Vermont. Virginia. Washington. West Virginia. Wisconsin.
Abby Norderhout from Wisconsin.
Hi, Abby. Wyoming. All right. Anyone that I didn't acknowledge who's here, or maybe someone who's come in the room after your state or territory was called? I count 26, Madam President.
Thank you, Steve, and our sponsors and our guests as well.
Yes, if there are others in the room who are not CoSA members, but who are here as our guests, we'd love for you to turn on your mic and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Elaine Beeler. I'm here with Preservica.
Hi, Elaine.
Dan Pay with Family Search.
Hey, Dan.
Hello, this is Sherry Fust. I'm here with representing Preservica.
Hello, Sherry.
Hi, Steve. This is Brian Long from Preservica.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Dennis Mildrum from Family Search.
Welcome, Dennis.
Hi, Craig Below with Ancestry.
Hello, Craig.
Hey, this is Jared Aikenhead from Ancestry.
Hi, Jared. All right, anyone else? We are so grateful to you for joining us today, especially our sponsors. Thank you for being here for the CoSA business meeting.
Thank you, Steve. And yes, thank you everyone for attending. It's good to see everybody. And so now we'll just move on to our old business. Materials for the business meeting were distributed to the State Archivist community on Tuesday, July 16th, and were also posted online. And I believe we'll share a link to that as well. They include the agenda, the minutes, and recognition of our partners. Do I have a motion to approve today's agenda?
Eric Emerson, so moved.
Thank you, Eric. Anyone second?
David Carmichael, Pennsylvania.
Thank you, David. Any objections? Okay, approved. Thank you. And next we'll turn to the 2023 annual business meeting minutes. Are there any changes or corrections to the minutes? Okay, as none, is there a motion on the floor to approve?
Eric Emerson, move to approve.
Thanks, Eric.
Lizette Pelletier, second.
Thank you, Lizette. Second, any objections to approve? Okay, then we'll approve those. Thank you all. So at this point, I'd like to extend a special thank you to our corporate partners and sponsors. This year, CoSA restructured our corporate sponsor support program, elevating the visibility of those who commit to working with us throughout the year and offering additional levels to start new relationships. So we'll go to the next slide. I first want to highlight our platinum partner, Ancestry. Thank you all. Thank you for being here and thank you for your support, as well as our Siri program partner, Preservica. It's good to see a lot of you all here today. Thank you for your support. Moving on to our program partners. We have APPX, Conserve, and Family Search. Our program sustainers are Atlas Systems, and AVP. Our 2024 Lifeline partners include Conserve and Gaylord Archival and Polygon. And then finally, our 2024 annual meeting sponsors. At the gold level, we have Nagara and SMA, and our silver level sponsor From the Page. Thank you all so much for your continued support in our work and in what we do. And then finally, I want to thank our grant funders, IMLS, for our Backer and Aware projects, and the Mellon Foundation. This support has enabled us to move forward with research initiatives that greatly benefit our membership and the greater archival community. So thank you so much. And now we'll move on to new business, and I'd like to welcome Kathy Popovich, CoSA Vice President and Deputy Director of the Illinois State Archives. Kathy will present the nominating committee report. Kathy?
All right, thank you, Jamie. The recommendations of the nominating committee were presented to the membership with the other meeting materials. We wish to extend our thanks to all of our CoSA volunteers who help us meet our mission-centered goals. We're especially grateful to Ken Williams of Utah and Cynthia Laframboise of Nevada as they complete their terms of service to the board of directors. I also want to thank the other members of the nominating committee for their thoughtful contributions to this process. Before you today is a slate of 3 individuals that the nominating committee recommends for approval for 3-year terms: Catherine Giles of Kentucky, Abby Norderhog of Wisconsin, and Alan Ramsey of Connecticut.
Thank you, Kathy, for leading the nominating committee and for the committee for their work. Are there any further nominations from the floor? Okay, hearing none and seeing how this comes as a recommendation from the committee of the board, we do not need a second, but we will need to vote. And are we doing so by poll, Joy?
Yes. Becky, can you launch the poll now?
A reminder, 1 vote per state.
We can give it a little bit longer as folks find that poll button. We're about 53% participation right now. Jamie, did you want to vote?
I'm not, I can't vote as a panelist, but I do want to vote yay.
Okay. Okay, we'll make a note of that.
It's,
I think everybody else has participated, so we will end that and share the results. So if you scroll down, you can see the results.
all right, thank you. We have approval by 96%. Thank you so much. Okay, next slide. So I want to begin by thanking all of you all for allowing me to serve as CoSA's president this past year and for your continued support. It's been incredibly rewarding for me, both professionally and personally. I'm proud to be a part of such an exceptional community of professionals, and I mean that with all sincerity. This year has gone by quickly, and at times it's been a challenge to keep up with all the ongoing work. There are a lot of great things that are coming out of the multitude of people here, and I'll highlight a few of those. I want to give a special nod of appreciation to my colleagues on the executive committee, Steve Murray, Kathy Popovich, and our executive director, Joy Banks, whom I've had the honor of working alongside this past year. It really has been a privilege to meet and collaborate with you all every week, every Monday. I don't know what I'm going to do with my Monday afternoons this past year. You're prime examples of the level of talent and strong leadership within our state and territorial archives. So thank you so much. I want to acknowledge the contributions of the members of the board of directors. Each board member has devoted numerous hours of service to this organization. Your commitment and active involvement are greatly appreciated. We have a lot of former board members here in attendance today, and future former board members, I believe, will come. So I really encourage everyone to participate, and being a board member is so rewarding. CoSA is, as you all know, a volunteer membership-driven organization. So all of you as members are at the core of CoSA's strength. If the state of an association can be measured in the strength of its membership, then I can say with confidence, we are sound. We may not have large numbers, but we are mighty in our collective efforts to address issues and provide solutions to the challenges faced by all of us as state and territorial archivists. Over 70 individual members served on the 13 plus committees and subcommittees this past year. So to all of the volunteers, the CoSA staff, contractors, you are all the backbone of our success. Thank you for your work on pushing our programs and initiatives forward. When we met last July in DC, I spoke about looking ahead and noted that CoSA in many ways was at a transition point. We recognize the importance of self-assessment and focusing inward to establish our documentation and governance structures more formally, with the goal of enhancing sustainability and always clarifying our focus on the benefits and expectations of membership. The board of directors conducted a self-assessment shortly after the annual meeting to identify areas requiring attention in the upcoming year. One outcome pinpointed the necessity to improve awareness of policies and documentation. Sounds a little boring, but which includes evaluating the existing committees to clarify their purpose and document the responsibilities and job duties of committee members. The objective as a membership organization is to establish a standardized onboarding process for board members and committee volunteers so that we all have a clear understanding of the requirements and expectations, and we will all be more effective in our roles. This work continues into the board's next term. Our strategic plan, currently in year 4, and it runs through 2026, remains a focus of the board, of course, which has been continually reviewing and updating as needed. Some of the work from the past year that highlights our core values and goals, which Joy and others will go into more details on specifics here later. But those include in research, Backer, which I think officially ended yesterday, although the work continues, the DPCMM survey, cultural competency, and direct support with 5 of our member states and territories. Today also marks 1 year since the start of the AWARE grant, and we're looking forward to the gathering of the territorial and partner states at the Territorial Summit during our annual meeting. The Mellon Data Aggregation Project started last October and launched in January, which will help us aggregate all of the various resources and data sets that we have created and hope to provide to our members to put them in a more efficient and kind of findable and usable location. In education, our monthly member webinars, shop talks with sponsors, and SERI workshops focus on issues of accessibility and drew great participation numbers. The second annual SERI Steer Unconference last May was, by all accounts, a great success and is a tribute to the leadership and the multitude of opportunities that are provided to our staff across the country to highlight their talents and great work. These opportunities are regularly offered along with regular networking calls and dialogue within the community sites. Advocacy. Catherine Newsom's departure as co-chair did not deter the work of that committee, thanks in large part to Tom Roller and his continued participation and leadership. The committee advanced the needs of our members and our allied organizations to stakeholders. They drafted support letters for NARA, a statement on veterans records, participated in American 250 initiatives, and National Humanities Alliance Advocacy Day. In the areas of sustainability and excellence, always a focus, Steve will present an update on our financial sustainability in his report as the treasurer and how we've been able to provide some opportunities for our members based off of a new structure of dues. This is just a superficial. I mean, we only have so much time since our business meeting's been cut in half this year. We only have so much time to overview some of the work that's been accomplished by the membership. Like I said, Joy will provide greater details and context in her report later. But wrapping up, since we last met, some of our colleagues have retired or moved on to other opportunities, and these include our retirees, Jan Davis from Oklahoma, Michael Camo from Massachusetts, Sandra Treadway from Virginia, and recently added, not retired yet, but cannot go unmarked, David Carmichael from Pennsylvania and Georgia, effective in September. Departures from other states to other opportunities include Laura Blanford of Arizona, Natalia Vicente from California, and Catherine Newsom of Louisiana. I want to acknowledge with sadness the passing of Steve Excel, former Washington Assistant Secretary of State and State Archivist, this past February. Steve retired in 2021 and was an extremely active and participatory member of CoSA. We want to extend a warm welcome to the new state archivists who have been named to their positions since the business meeting last September. And it's a lengthy and growing list. From Florida, Anya Owens, Arizona, Tom Summer, Kentucky, Rusty Heckerman, New Mexico, Jonathan Pringle, New York, Brian Keogh, sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, Oklahoma, Patricia Nunes, Louisiana, Melanie Montanaro. I've had the pleasure of speaking with several of you, although not all of you, that I still have some calls to make, but welcome to CoSA. I hope you'll find this a welcoming and engaging community.
Thank you.
Finally, I want to wrap up my time before I pass the cape virtually, I'm afraid, to Kathy. She will get the in-person cape in St. Louis, and I know she will wear it well. I look forward to continuing my service on the board And more so, I look forward to seeing each of you in September at our annual meeting in St. Louis. It'll be a great time to gather, share, discuss, and socialize in person. If you have not registered, I encourage you to do so. We have a great program planned. Now let's turn our attention to Joy Banks, who will present the Executive Director's Report.
Thanks, Jamie, and welcome to all of you. I am Joy Banks, as Jamie said, and it was about this time 2 years ago that I joined your group. I was meeting with the CoSA community and getting to know you all, making final plans for the 2022 joint conference with BPE in Nashville. And now here we are planning an independent meeting for the first time in recent memory. I feel very fortunate for the welcome that you all have given me and that you've entrusted me with this mission that we share to provide leadership to strengthen and support all of your critical work to preserve and provide access to government records. Our 2023 year in review, which was shared earlier this year, really marked the midpoint of our active strategic plan. And in the first half of 2024, we have continued this work to really manifest the values that we have to be relevant, inclusive, and collaborative, while also highlighting the theme of accessibility for this year. In these 7 months, our volunteer team has been very busy. We've hosted 13 educational sessions, which have included nearly 550 participants at each of those meetings, well, together in those meetings. And this includes our second annual Series Steer Unconference, which is quickly becoming a favorite program of CoSA and engaged nearly 175 participants. As we continue to listen to your conversations and needs for education and training, we really hope to pilot a new curriculum built on our cultural competency work that Helen Wong-Smith has been doing as a part of our Backer project, as well as seeking funding for an IPER update and refresh to meet the needs of continued education and training in disaster preparedness and emergency response. Our research continues. Jamie mentioned a few of the research opportunities that we've been doing this year, including the DPCMM. This year, our 3-year IMLS-funded Backer project does draw to a close. We did an extension, so technically we do have another 12 months, but we anticipate that we'll finish our projects by the end of this year. We also, as Jamie mentioned, have invited new consultation with Era Tanzi and Helen Wong-Smith, who we hope to will inspire us as they've started their work with the territories and non-contiguous states on the IMLS-funded AWARE project. They're all working now to prep for the Territorial Summit in September, which will allow the group to meet together, for many of them for the first time face-to-face before our annual meeting begins. It's really a treat that we have this funding to bring at least one representative from each of them to the meeting this year. We are also looking forward to sharing recommendations and next steps stemming from our Mellon Foundation funded data aggregation project, with the hopes of making more effective use and distribution of CoSA's rich set of longitudinal data about state and territorial archives. We continue to be a source of information for these sorts of data, and we want to make sure that we honor the time that you take to complete things like the ARM survey and the DPCMM, and make this a dynamic data set for others who are doing research in the area of government archives. We can't always be writing grants, but we can often submit letters of support. And so we did submit letters of support for 3 projects that were all funded by the IMLS this year. And we're really delighted to engage with other mission-aligned partners as they explore issues such as mental health records and archives, setting an archival research agenda, and archival outreach to post-secondary students. Joining with these others as a trusted resource is not only important for the research component, but also advocacy for government archives. I hope that many of you have found the Government Archives Are Essential brochure useful in your conversations close to home and further afield. Now, more than ever, we have a responsibility to be vocal about the importance of your work. Our board heard from many of you during our annual calls to the members who are navigating many challenges, some old, some new, from budget loss to legislative actions to recruitment and retention of staff. The CoSA community is available to all of you as a place to connect, inspire, and support. And while most of our public advocacy work might be at the national level, we do a lot behind the scenes. Our team and your peers are always available when you need us most. It's another reason why we're trying to make our website more accessible and really get our data more usable so that those connections are easier to make with each other. The final strategic goal that we have in this current plan centers around creating a sustainable and excellent future for CoSA. And Steve will fill you in a little bit more on the financial side of that goal. But your CoSA leadership has been invested in this in really meaningful ways for a number of years. And we are starting to see these past plans produce viable fruit for an exciting future. CIRI leadership is actively engaged in an update to that program's strategic plan, envisioning new ways that we can do that work that is reflective of the way that electronic records are integrated much more holistically across all the programs of your institutions. And we're looking forward to circulating a draft of that soon. As Jamie talked about, we continue to streamline our operations, investigate our technology and systems, and make sure that CoSA operations reflect the best practices of data and records management that is important for an association supporting the archives field. Kathy will also reflect a bit as we continue to work on ways that we can truly engage the entire CoSA community through reshaping and re-envisioning our committees and setting up other special interest groups like the America 250 and SHRAB groups. It's a lot in a little bit of time, but to me, it is inspiring and truly the thing that drives me to come to work for you every day. I really am looking forward to seeing so many of you in September. We have more than 100 people registered from more than 35 member institutions. And in many instances, you're bringing more than one person with you. And I think that it's a really exciting time for CoSA. And I really thank you for all of the work to the board, to all of the many volunteers that make this happen. Truly, it is not just one person, but it's a community, as Jamie said, that strengthens the work that we do. So thank you. And with that note, I will turn the mic and the video to Steve for the finance report.
Thank you, Joy, and good day to all of you again. I want to begin just by saying thank you to Joy, our executive director, for her skillful administration of a major change in our accounting system that's been implemented over the past year and a half. We're working with a new accounting service called CoSA, which serves nonprofits predominantly in an online setting and with support staff that are actually all over the world. And we have made some really significant improvements to our reporting and to our transparency during that process. And you'll see some of those changes reflected in the financial reports when we get to those in a few minutes. I also want to thank all of you, our members, for being so supportive of the changes that we implemented in our membership structure and dues levels in this year of 2024. That has also made a marked difference that you're going to be able to see reflected in the reports and really adds to the sustainability and stability of CoSA's core operating capacity. And so we'll look at that a little bit more. I want to tell you that the board of directors recently approved the 2023 audit of the CoSA books prepared by the Beston and Durif CPA firm. And we had a good audit, and I think the numbers that you'll see for 2022 and 2023 come out of that audit report, and then we'll also have some 2024 to date numbers. So if you'll go to the next slide, Becky, this is a statement of activities going back to 2022. Just want to point out a few things as we go through here, and happy to answer any questions if anyone has them as we get to them. Notice on line 1 is our membership fees, and what you're seeing there for 2024 to date is only a portion of what's been invoiced. Our fully invoiced amount for this year is $159,150. And so you can see we've had a nice uptick from last year in that area. During this year, we have had 13 members who paid at the level 1 category of $5,000 or more for the year. We had 25 states who paid at level 2. That's that baseline $3,025 level that we approved last year. And then we had 11 members who paid their memberships in the exceptions category, which are less than that rate. And we're always want to be as supportive as we can. If there's anything that CoSA can help you with in terms of helping make a case to those who authorize decisions about spending in your states to help make the case for joining at that level 2 category in the upcoming year, please let us know how we can help. We know that several of you have biennial budget cycles, and so this change came about in the middle of that cycle for some of you, and we're glad to have the flexibility that's in place in this kind of tiered membership structure. This year, all of the territories membership is covered by the AWARE grant and will be for the duration of that grant program. This year, we had 2 states who have not paid. And just for comparison, last year we had 4 that did not pay anything toward membership. So again, that's also movement in a good direction there. This shows us, and I want to stress here just the importance of sustaining our dues payments to continue to support that core capacity of CoSA. As many of you know, we have relied on grants to support major programming areas for a good portion of our history. And those are wonderful ways to support specific initiatives. But in order to serve our membership and to be able to think longitudinally and to think long-term into the future and do good planning, we need to have that capacity to keep moving forward. Line 2 relates to that as well. We're so grateful to our sponsors, and we're having a good year in 2024 so far. I want to say here also that continuing to increase our corporate revenue stream also helps us to improve capacity and to support sustained programs for creating best practices and researching challenges facing all of us in the state and territorial archives world. We encourage you to please let us know if you're working with vendors or with companies or consultants who may be interested in supporting CoSA and the work that all of us do through a CoSA sponsorship. And Anne and the team at CoSA will be right on it and be very receptive to any ideas or suggestions you may have. One of the things that we've been noticing, and Joy's brought a real strength to this, looking at CoSA in comparison to the other organizations of state offices and agencies across the U.S. And one of the things that we've been finding in her analysis of that is that the other government organizations that have been able to grow capacity and outputs have been able to do that because their corporate sponsorship revenue gets to a point where it exceeds their membership fees. And that's a good goal for us to continue working toward as well. Just to point out a couple of numbers here that may jump out to you on line 6, our other income category was larger in 2023. That was a payment from our revenue sharing income from SAA last year. We will have more information on the 2024 annual meeting of CoSA after that meeting's over, of course. We look like we're going to be in good shape there. We look forward to sharing those details with you. Line 7 is the revenue from our silent auction last year in DC. I want to encourage you to please open that email about the silent auction opportunity in St. Louis and support us so we can continue to grow that support when we're together in a few weeks from now. Line 8 shows our investment income. And you can see we were in 2022, you're seeing the effects of two things: loss in the value of the account in a difficult stock market year, as well as the effect of a withdrawal that we had to do to cover our obligations late in the calendar year of 2022. We were in a better position last year, and we're on track to have a better year this year as well. One of the an unusual kind of thing to note about what you'd expect to find on bank interest in an era of strong interest rates is that our revenue from our savings account is not reported as bank interest because it's at a credit union. It is reported as dividends. And so the accountants and the auditors tell us you've got to report that as investment income because they're technically classified as dividends rather than bank interest. We are earning some good rates on those deposits, but it shows up on line 8 instead of line 9. If you'll go on to the next slide. These are the expenses on our statement of activity for the year. This is where I wanted to point out on lines 12 through 14, something that another important change that we've made. If you look back to 2022, you see that there was a really sizable portion of expenses allocated to management in general, and then the rest to programming without anything related to fundraising. Working with our new accountant, we were making a more accurate and more transparent allocation of those expenses across those functional areas now. And so the board and you all have a better picture of kind of how those resources are being used there in 23 and again in 2024. So just something to note that you'll see that consistently moving forward with those expenses allocated across those functions. On line 18, we've seen some real improvements in our net assets as an organization, but there's a caveat that we're going to see on a subsequent screen here for a second. One thing to note, was that 2022, and this just underscores the importance of the decision we made about our membership fees and about the importance of our ongoing development efforts, is that we were skating a little close to the edge there in late 2022, especially from a cash flow perspective, because we have some restricted funds that can only be used for specific purposes, and we had a good portion of our assets tied up in our investment account. So we'll come back, we'll see those numbers again here in a few minutes. If you'll go to the next slide, and you can, if you'll go again, I had dropped in some boxes here but we can thank you, Becky. On this slide, this is transitioning from our statement of activity to our statement of financial position. So this is CoSA's balance sheet. And just to point out there, you can see what our cash deposits are. On line 7, you can see that kind of gradually rebounding value of our investment account. And what you're seeing there is true growth in value of the account in the market. We have not, in late 2022, we suspended depositing additional cash into that account because we were trying to get a handle on our cash flow situation. And the finance committee has been examining that situation further in recent months. And we're going to, I'll say something else about that when we get to the next slide, but give you a second to look over that slide. And then we'll go on to the last one. This is our liabilities and net assets. One of the things I wanted to point out when you're looking at the bottom line of our net assets, there on line 13, we have been receiving some advances on one of our larger grants currently that is inflating that amount of cash that we're holding on hand. So while the news is good, it's also true that those are funds that are already committed under our operations plans for the respective grants. And so those funds will be expended according to that grant proposal over the course of this year and continuing on into 2025. Also wanted to point out on lines 17 and 18 here, this is where we get to the real core numbers. When I talk about core capacity of CoSA, you're talking about these two rows, 17 and 18. And those are our undesignated net assets. So this is kind of the general funds that are available to CoSA for the board to make in its budgeting decisions. And then on the line below that, 18, is the board designated reserve fund that a decade ago, we had no reserve fund, and the board at the time began diverting 10% of our sponsorships into this reserve fund. And so that has been growing steadily over a decade. The finance committee at the board's request is reviewing kind of what our needs are in that reserve fund for right now. And kind of we're taking a look at, by stripping away all of the grant funded and grant supported program areas and activities that involve generated revenue like the annual meeting, just to see what do we need to sustain CoSA, kind of a worst case scenario for a period of 6 months. And that's going to be kind of a refined target for where we want to go with that reserve fund. And we'll then monitor that on an ongoing basis and make sure that we're continuing to grow it as needed to maintain that 6 month or so reserve without necessarily continuing to feed the reserve fund just with a flat percentage or number like we have been doing for the past several years while we were trying to get that built up. There is an additional line. These 2024 income has not been allocated across some resources yet. So on line 22, that 142,000 will be split across that undesignated category on 17, as well as the board designated reserve fund. That reserve fund today, after those allocations are done, by the time we get to the end of the fiscal year, will probably be up around $85,000 in the reserve fund. And that's all I have, Jamie. I'm happy to answer any questions or attempt to, or enlist Joy's help if there are any questions.
Thank you, Steve. Are there any questions? Feel free to put those in the chat or raise your hand. Give a little pause here. Okay, thank you, Steve. Now we'll turn towards Kathy Popovich of Illinois, CoSA Vice President, incoming President-elect. And Kathy, your remarks on looking ahead.
Thank you, Jamie. It has been an absolute pleasure serving on the CoSA board and as Vice President this year. In March, the Board of Directors held its first in-person major meeting since before the pandemic. In preparation for that meeting and to get us in the right mindset for visioning and strategic planning, Joy shared a TED Talk with us presented by Simon Sinek. In his talk, Simon shares a model for how leaders and those who lead inspire. According to Simon, the best leaders across the board, all different industries, different types of organizations, they all communicate in the exact same way. Effective and successful leaders start with the why. Why does our company create a certain product? Why does our institution provide these services? What are we motivated by and what do we believe in? Now, anyone who's listened to a motivational speaker or has read anything on leadership will tell you this isn't really anything new. But in his talk, Simon goes on to state that what you do serves as the proof of what you believe. So while it's always important to come back to your core values, your why, we have to move beyond that and do the work that shows that we mean what we say. CoSA's why can be found in our value statement. We value being relevant, inclusive, and collaborative in supporting our membership. In looking ahead, our goals and objectives for this next year undoubtedly illustrate our core values, our why. My first involvement with CoSA was as a member of the Education Committee. I joined in 2016 as a young beginner archivist, having been at my state archives for all of 2 years. I, like many others, assumed that CoSA was really meant for just the state archivists and directors. I didn't know that CoSA was for me too. So I've been more than delighted to see the continued efforts to redefine membership and to include all of those that CoSA serves, while also still creating opportunities for the state archivists and directors to collaborate with and seek advice from their peers. To continue in those efforts to include all of our membership, over the next year, the board will be looking at our current committees and initiatives with an eye towards ensuring that we are operating in an effective and inclusive way. The board will examine the shapes and sizes of our committees, responsibilities and expectations of committee members, and the desired outcomes of the work being done. We will work to find more opportunities for member engagement that doesn't necessarily look like just sitting in on a monthly committee meeting. We want to encourage our members to be involved in a way that suits them and showcases their unique skills and talents. Joy mentioned, since the beginning of this year, as a part of a Mellon Foundation project, CoSA has been working with AVP to identify our current data sets and to explore avenues for discovery and access to this rich data. To that end, and based on the recommendations from AVP, CoSA plans to migrate its current website to a new association management system. The new platform will allow us to centralize all of our member and survey data into one place, update our data more efficiently, and allow for quicker access to needed information. One of CoSA's many strengths is its facilitation and encouragement of community, relationship building, and communication. This new platform will help us to continue to facilitate collaboration and communicate with each other more effectively. The CoSA team will continue to work towards this transition in the last quarter of this year, and more information will be shared as we get closer to that time. I am so excited, as I'm sure many of you are, that we will be holding our annual meeting solo this year in St. Louis. The Missouri and Illinois State Archives are both very honored to serve as your co-hosts. The week will kick off on Tuesday with a summit for our territorial members as a part of our IMLS-funded AWARE grant. Following the theme of by the people, for the people, increasing access to state and territorial records, the CoSA Annual Meeting Planning Committee has been hard at work crafting an educational, relevant, and inspiring conference for you all. Along with some top-notch educational sessions, the conference will feature opportunities to collaborate with affinity groups, meet with our CoSA sponsors and other vendors, and celebrate and acknowledge our colleagues at the award ceremony. As always, there will be plenty of networking, camaraderie, and coffee. On Wednesday, you have the opportunity to visit the NARA Record Storage Facility just over the river in Valmeyer, Illinois. The post-conference excursion will be a beautiful 90-minute drive north to Springfield, where you'll get to visit the Illinois State Archives Margaret Cross Norton Building, the Illinois State Capitol, and the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum. This will be CoSA's first solo annual conference, and we hope to make it a great one. I want to thank Cynthia and Ken for their service on the board. I also want to thank Jamie for her efforts this past year as president. As we look forward to this next year, we will continue the great work Jamie and the other board members have done in formalizing our procedures, putting CoSA on the path to a more sustainable future, and fostering opportunities for our members to connect. Over the next year, we will continue to prove what we believe in. I hope to support our membership in relevant and tangible ways as we all navigate the challenges of providing meaningful access to our collections and ensuring authenticity in our records. What you do serves as the proof of what you believe. I am beyond honored to serve this group and give back to an organization that has given so much to me. This organization is strong and just getting stronger. I look forward to working with you all this next year as we continue to remember our values, remember our why, and continue to do the type of work that proves our beliefs. Thank you. And I believe that will go back to Jamie and Joy to close us out.
Thank you, Kathy. I would like to give you a hand, virtually or not. Thank you so much. I'm really excited about the upcoming year and continuing, like I said, to work with you all and all the members. I want to give another shout out to you and to our friends and colleagues in Missouri for serving as hosts. having done a preview of the annual meeting trip in March as the board traveled to St. Louis and Springfield to kind of scout out the venues, if you will. That drive to Springfield from St. Louis can be filled with a lot of great stories and a lot of great conversations. So the scenery, may not be so great on the outside, but then
And
the
hopefully
discussion,
we'll have better weather this time around.
the fun within the minivan cannot be matched. So I really encourage everyone to attend. If you've not been to Springfield and had the experience of Dave Jones giving you a tour of the state capitol and of their archives building, you're missing out. So I hope you all will join us. So thank you all. Joy, any additional remarks?
I do see that Cynthia has raised her hand, and
Oh.
I didn't know if you had a comment or question, Cynthia.
I would just like to say that as serving on the board for the last 3 years has been an honor and a privilege. When Eric Emerson called me to ask me to be on the board, I was just so flattered because I didn't see where I could meet some of the expectations of my colleagues, because I just admire and respect you all so much. But it's been fun. It's been entertaining. It's been, I've learned so much, and I have really appreciated working with everyone. Joy, you are a dear to work with. I'm so happy that we have you as our president. And if you even think about wanting to serve on the board, please do, because you will find it to be rewarding and will enjoy your experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you for your service, and Ken Williams as well, for outgoing board members.
I don't think I have any other remarks other than to thank you, Jamie, for your presidency and leading the organization in this last year. I mean, I don't know. It's high praise that y'all enjoy coming to so many meetings with me. So if that's not an endorsement to say yes when the nominating committee calls, I don't know what would be. So just thanks for making this a really nice meeting, and thank you, Jamie, for everything you've done this last year.
Thanks so much. Chris Stenson, I don't know what eating horseshoes means, but maybe we can check in on that. I want a full report on what you plan to do in St. Louis.
No, that's you got to talk to Dave Jones about that. For anybody going to Springfield, it's a local. Well, let's go with delicacy. He'd be thrilled to tell you all about it.
And if you're on a diet, you can have a pony shoe.
More to look forward to. So I'm just checking for any additional comments or questions. Thank you, everybody, again. I cannot wait to see everybody. I'm kind of a hugger. I didn't hug the last meeting because it was like, the COVID time. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody, maybe giving a hug or two. And with that, I guess I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Eric Emerson, move to adjourn.
Thank you, Eric. Anyone?
This is Steve, I second.
Thank you, Steve. Second, any objections? Okay, we shall adjourn. Thank you all. Have a great rest of the day and hopefully a good rest of the week.
Thanks, everybody.